So, now there is a new feminist party in Finland. It fights for universal and gender equality, anti-racism and discrimination of disabled and LGBT people. This is needed because already established parties have forgotten those things, they say. Their one big concern is that political focal point is moving towards social conservatism. Swedish Feminist Party is a role model for Finnish one. It has 3 equal chairmen, or should I say, chairwomen. The average age is low. Many in the party are just 18 years old. 1/3 of part-time members are with immigrant background, and many doesn't identify their sexuality. There is needed as much diversity of party members as possible. Hopefully this doesn't go that point, where white heterosexual men are discriminated against, and femininity, imaginary genders, fat positivity and other sick things are promoted like in Anglo-American world, or Sweden. But Finnish Feminist Party takes Sweden's one as a role model. What are the main goals of Feminist Party?
1. Full equality of genders.
Then you have to turn people to asexual beings, which isn't possible. Men and women are mentally and physically different. You can only give them equality of opportunity. Feminist Party wants equality bonus for women, in which public and private sector fund the wage increases in female-dominated sectors.
2. Racism and discrimination are everywhere in the society as an institutional problem. Thus, discriminating structures must be dismantled.
I'm not sure what else they want to get dismantled in Lex Trans, which I tell about later.
3. Violence that men do against women is global phenomenon, which is one of biggest security problem. Climate change threatens especially poor, women and natives. Feminist Party sees that searching for better life should be right for everyone. We want security politics, which doesn't identify borders of countries, but instead of that, system need to concentrate more on people's needs.
Again, more bullshit. Some violence on women happens in Western countries, but it is not legal. See the Third World and Islamic countries, what happens there? And if we don't have borders, invaders can get in with evil thoughts in their minds. World is not ready to be in borderless communist utopia. See what happens now in Southern Europe. More chaos and criminality from lesser developed countries, who doesn't respect our liberal and equal values. Let's see what's inside of Feminist Party's blog. Oh yeah, they tell about wage gap. That controversial issue for a long time. Why women get paid less than men? Why women's euro is 83 cents? That is not true. The thing is, that women earn less than men. If we compare what people get paid, there is no difference. If there would be, employers would hire only women to work. Men do more night and weekend works than women. They want to earn more money, and have more ambition. Therefore, men earn more. Women and men have different career choices. Women don't value power, money and status like men. They are more interested in expert tasks than leadership. And women have long family leaves, which decreases employers' desire to hire women. And what if labor market is dominated by women? They are a little better educated than men at average, so they may get better jobs, and men get leftovers, jobs that require hard work and thus are paid more.
Gender roles, inside out.
Sounds too promising.
Feminist Party's goal is to create society where everybody can freely identify his or her sexuality and gender without fear of discrimination.
Sounds good. As long as you don't push that agenda to legislation, I'm fine with it. Anyone can imagine and role-play whatever they want.
Achieving equality in the society there is needed for breaking norms of heterosexuality and bipolar gender system in legislation, social and medical services, education, jobs and people's everyday life.
Oh no, there is so much wrong that I don't know where to start. There are only 2 genders, or sexes. No imaginary genders, because they are not based on biology. If so, then there could be millions of different genders. You want to destroy everything with this sick cultural Marxist ideology. End of discussion. Feminist Party wants also change so-called Lex Trans, what nowadays means that those who fix their gender identity biometrically has to prove to being sterilized, is ready to change marriage status to registered partnership, and prove that he or she is really the gender. And he or she must be at least 18 years old. Amnesty International have complained about this law, because it violates human rights. Sounds reasonable, at least in that case if you try to force sterilization. But I see no problem with that when you must prove to be a new, chosen gender, even though you cannot truly change your gender ever. Not with this technology level.
18-year-old age limit does not allow consideration of the children.
Of course not, because that would allow child abuse and indoctrination. Children don't have enough knowledge about what that means to be man or woman. They may test themselves, and they may be confused at some times, until they realize that they are male or female. Being an adult, you may at least have some knowledge about genders at that age. What about loosing about marriage? I'm indifferent about that. Marriage is a constitution to protect children with safe future. Feminist Party wants also third gender to be accepted as juridically. Bullshit, I say. Feminist Party wants that being transsexual is not anymore a disease. That I agree, mental beliefs are not diseases. Feminist Party wants that self-determination is focused in gender reassignment surgeries, and society must help with this issue. So many things Feminist Party wants. They want that commonplaces can be used by anyone else, and in hospitals, locker rooms, prisons and public toilets are to be transformed for everybody's needs. So you want society to pour more money to expensive transformation of public spaces for a very minority's needs, which gives possibility for example sick men to visit at women's toilets and maybe sexually harass them, but he can claim that he is a transsexual, and you cannot do anything about it. Feminist Party wants that violence against trans people will be introduced to law as hate crime, and whole criminal legislation is looked from gender and sexuality's point of view. I wonder how much trans people get harassment and attacks in Finland. I know only couple, and they happened in prides. Well, that's it for Feminist Party. But some Finnish feminists have strange points of views, for example feminists, who have converted to Islam.
The problem is not the religion, but in interpretations and cultures where women are oppressed. The problem is that interpretations are made by men. Modern feminists have big problems to understand why I use hijab, because it can really be own choice. And they say that you don't understand how you are being oppressed.
What interpretations you need? If Muhammad's and Allah's words are divine and unchangeable, then what you can do about it? In Western world scarf is own choice, not for those who have born in the Muslim country. Why feminists find some things as problematic which weren't so earlier. He say that Finnish language is sexist, man-centered and discriminating against other genders. It has generic and hidden masculinity, which is problematic. Hidden and visible masculinity of language must be challenged. But problem is that there are also other genders or sexes than men and female. Diversity of the language must be destroyed in the name of feminism. No wonder this has met opposition. This is explained as lack of knowledge of common people and use of power by men.
Defending phrases as an established thing is like justifying honor killing. Men-like phrases are proof of masculine way of thinking. It is not innocent, but there is an ideology in the background.
And here is another one troubling thing for feminists. Town of Jonchu made a job advertisement, where it searched people for leadership jobs. What had found as problematic was a bearded Lego man in the picture. People in social media saw that town searched especially men for those jobs, not women, and the town had to apologize for that. But there can be a possibility that feminists didn't understand that man in the picture was actually a trans man. You have to find anything from margins to get oppressed about things, what other people haven't ever though about. This doesn't start well for Feminist Party. Oh, and one more thing. There were so-called equality days some time ago. The main topic was how to fight against sexism, misogyny, chauvinism and racism. Discussion was led by Female Federal Case Union and Green Women.
Best way to fight against misogyny is to understand diversity of genders, and to recognize how misogyny is linked to racism. We have many people in Finland who at the morning doesn't know whether they are women or racialized. And there is a high risk that their oppression is multiplied.
If they are really for equality, why they didn't talk about misandry, but only about women's issues? These unions filled with women are not for equality anymore. And there are only two sexes, man and female. In the English language you put genders everywhere. We in Finland talk about two sexes and social sex, which you call as gender. We have an easier language in this case. And multiplied oppression sounds like to me as oppression Olympics, who can be most oppressed. There will always be some assholes, who are sexist, racists, etc. You cannot educate them all, because those cases cannot be re-educated. You force other people to think and talk with self-censorship. This is the police. The Western world is at the top of liberalism and equality, so why you don't help people in the other world? In Islamic countries? Or are there Muslim women in Finland, who are oppressed by their husbands?
Dominated! And I've been shagging your wife! Ha ha!